Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're doing a bit more on our series of looking at how a teacher does their planning. So last time I put a video about this, it was about a week ago I think now, and it kind of went over all the different types of planning a teacher does. So that was just a quick overview on the different types of things that I do and how I plan, and as always it's just trying to get you guys into a brief look of what a teacher does, because there's no real way of prepping for doing what a teacher does to plan apart from by being in the school and doing it yourself. Sometimes it can take ages, sometimes it can be really quick. It just depends on the lesson, on how much you're enjoying doing it, and what type of thing you're planning for. So it's just something that, if this gives you a little idea of what it's like, then when you come to do your planning, whether it's on a placement, whether it's as your NQT, whether it's just to practice beforehand, to think about what you might do for a lesson, if you're going to teach them about angles like we're going to look at today, then this might help you, and hopefully it will give you an idea of what I have to do and what you will have to do as a teacher. So as always, when we look at these, there's just a little bit of a reminder that all schools will do this differently, and the way my school does it now is massively different from the way I was doing it for my school 3 years ago when I started teaching there. And I think our changes we've made are for the better. They definitely have made it life a lot easier for us. They've made it a lot quicker. There's less paperwork that you have to fill in to get a plan ready. So that is always a good thing in my opinion. But I think definitely there are some things where other schools do things that are different, and that is probably better than what we do. And, you know, we might end up incorporating that into the way we work, or we may not. We'll just have to see how time goes. So anyway, this is where we're going to go into our short-term planning and really look at what it means. So a short-term plan is the very basics of what a teacher does each day. So everything you're about to see are the slides that I have up on the screen throughout every single lesson that I teach. Now, in our school, that means that our planning is our slides. We don't fill out an extra piece of paper to tell someone what we're doing. It is merely on our slides. So we follow the kind of set format that we have all the time. This helps us keep it consistent across all the year groups, and it helps the children now as they pass up through the school from each teacher, then their lessons aren't going to change too much. Yes, the content will change and what we're teaching will change, but the layout and the way it looks on the screen as they're talking about it and learning from it will stay the same. So it's just another help in making sure the children are settled nice and quickly into their new year group and they're ready to go as soon as possible. So the first slide I have up at the start of every single lesson is something that looks a bit like this. And this is just a quick reminder basically to tell children of some kind of jobs I need them to do. So this can vary, as you can see up here, it's talking about their reading records and that kind of thing, getting them out, getting them ready and on the table. So this is often what I have up in the morning, but sometimes I can have slides that ask them to do a set task on their Chromebooks. I can have a task saying get their reading books out. I could have a task saying, open up your books and have a go at this question, a little revisit of something they used to do the previous week. And it's just a quick task to get them in and settled. So this is what I have up when they come in at the start of the day, when they come in from break time, and then we come in from dinner time. So it just means the children come in, they can look at the board, there's some instructions up there, and they get settled in and get going straight away. So this is just something quick and easy, and it means they're not all wandering around, having a chat, getting distracted, and it takes longer to set the lesson going. It's really important when they come in from break time that they just come in and get on as quickly as possible to get the lesson started. If you are a teacher, you will know, or you will find out soon if you're training to be a teacher, lesson time passes so quickly and you very quickly suddenly get to the end of a lesson and you think, oh, where is that time gone? We have still so much more to do. So definitely, as soon as the children are in, then they need to sit down and get on with the work, because you'll be very quickly running out of time before you know it. So the next one we have up is a slide showing our non-negotiables. Now, these non-negotiables are what our school follows, and again, these change. I think they've changed twice since I started teaching there, and generally we change them for the better. They're just a nice brief overview that can apply to all year groups. So we used to have non-negotiables that change for different year groups, but now we've got the same one, and they spread out for all the different year groups. And as you can see up on the screen there, they do have different kind of things you can apply differently to different year groups. So perfect punctuation, obviously that's a very different idea in year 6 as it is in year 1. And so the teacher has to then go through these and kind of explain what they mean to the class. But they all look the same in every year group, and again, the children know what it means and know what to follow to do that. So this is just something where it's just a quick reminder at the start of the lesson. At the start of the year and at the start of each term and half term, you'd go over them in a lot more detail. But once children are used to being in school and used to getting going, then they go, oh yeah, non-negotiables, we need to make sure, perfect handwriting, getting on as hard as we can, putting our most effort in. And it's just a quick reminder to remind them to do that. So the next slide is where the lesson really starts, and this is the learning objective and the date. So this just helps children understand what they're going to be doing in that lesson. So as you can see, the lesson objective is in child-friendly language. They need to write it in their books along with the date, and it's just a quick starter to get them settled in. So they should have done their first activity, whatever it was I told them to do at the start, getting their reading books out, that kind of thing. And this is where we're like, right, books open, settle down, and absolutely get on with our work. So they get that written down and they can start thinking straight away about what they're going to be learning. They can be thinking about any previous knowledge they've already had from this. They can be thinking about whether they enjoyed this topic last time, or if they didn't, what was it about that they struggled with. They can think about, did they find this easy or hard? And it's just getting them ready for that lesson, and they know what mindset they need to be in to crack on with that lesson in a few minutes. So it's just to kind of make sure they understand what they're learning, they understand why they're learning it, and we can get started with the lesson as soon as they are finished with writing this down in their books. Another thing we follow at our school is the WALK learning code. So as you can see up on the screen, this is something that the children aim to be like every single lesson. So each letter of WALK stands for a different kind of ideal learning behaviour for the children in the class. Things like wanting to learn, things like asking questions. And it just means the children, again, have that kind of idealistic profile of what a student should be in a classroom and what they're trying to achieve to be the best student they can be. So we really encourage them to ask the questions and to want to be there. And it's not about getting all the answers right. I keep on telling my class at the minute since they've come back to school, it's all about putting in 100% effort. And it doesn't matter if they get all the answers right or if they only get a few of them right. As long as they're trying hard and they're learning from their mistakes, then they will end up getting the answers right at the end. But if they're not putting in that effort, then everything will get a lot harder. So again, this just WALK code up on the board is a quick reminder of the children saying, oh yeah, we need to put that effort in, we need to work our hardest, and then we will get through whatever the troubles might be. If you don't like a topic particularly, then hopefully if you are working hard and you really push at it and do your best, then you'll end up overcoming that bit of diversity, that struggle that you're facing, and you'll end up enjoying it because you are finding it easier afterwards. So it's just this WALK's learning code is something they strive to follow every single day. And in all our assemblies, our head teacher kind of reminds them, so yep, we've got a WALK's learning code, we're following that today, try and be the best WALK's learner you can. And then hopefully the children will be aiming to hit that WALK's learning code every lesson. So the next slide you can see on the screen here is all about the children revisiting their previous knowledge. So this slide is kind of the start of the lesson for real, where the first few slides we'll just go through quickly in a few minutes. And this way we're like, right guys, are they in your books from whiteboards, depending on what the lesson is? They'll start to kind of answer these questions. We'll be discussing how to find the answers and what type of things we know already. So this first slide is all about revisiting, and it's revisiting their previous knowledge. So as you can see here, we're looking today at finding angles in a straight line, but this first bit is how many degrees are there in a straight line. We've looked at that before, we know that from a previous lesson, and so it's just about reminding the children of what they've previously learned, because they'll have worked hard before, and if they don't kind of connect those dots, connect those schema in their minds, then that will not bring out that further knowledge later on. So this is just a quick revisit of saying, yeah, what have we learned before? What do we already know? And what can we build on from there? And linking those two different parts of knowledge rather than being individual lessons being taught. We're showing the children that they're learning, and it's a spiralized curriculum that we teach at our school. So they learn at one bit and then we might do something else for a little while, and then they come back to it and it connects those dots between those two lessons. So we kind of revisit a bit of previous knowledge that we had already. So once we've revisited that knowledge and we all have reminded ourselves that there are 180 degrees in a straight line, we then move on to answering a few questions using that bit of knowledge. So as you can see on the screen here, the next slide is talking about, okay, we've got 180 degrees. If this angle is 70, then how much is the missing angle? And it's reminding the children of the method they can use to solve that. So they can either count back in their heads in tens, they can use column subtraction, like you can see on the board there. And it's just saying, oh yeah, so we've got that problem. How can we write that down in our books in a mathematical way to then go about solving it? So it kind of breaks it down for those children that learn through writing things. They can practice writing it. It breaks it down for those children that are visual learners, and they can see it up on the board and say, oh yeah, remember, that's how we do it. And it again links that previous knowledge of that 180 degrees in a straight line that they had to more of what we're going to go on today. This is kind of a very basic maths problem that they're going to be looking at today. It's the easiest kind of version of what we'll be looking at. And as you'll see from the next few slides, it's going to get harder and harder. But it's, again, building up those little steps. There's no point just giving children one of the hardest problems straight away, as they'll struggle with it. And as soon as they struggle with something straight away, it just turns the children off. And they'll make the rest of the lesson really hard work, kind of dragging them through that problem to understand it. Whereas if you start from a more basic start point and something they already know and build up their knowledge from there, then you'll see by the end they'll have a really good understanding, and they kind of link those bits that they already knew to the bits you're teaching them today. Just a quick pause in the middle of this video, guys. I just want to let you know that my partner and I have started our own business called Wellbeing Gifts UK. And as teachers, we've seen over the past year how hard some people have struggled to get through it and how much it has affected everyone's well-being, children and adults alike. And so we're in quite a fortunate position where we've been able to start this business and share a bit of the things we do. So we make different resin products like key rings and bookmarks and coasters and little pots. And we also are doing some chocolate boxes in various sizes where you can send them as either you can buy them for yourself or you can buy them as a surprise for someone else. And every single item that we sell will come as a personalised note. So you can either send us a note to write, or we will write a note on it just to say thank you for ordering and we hope that you're still smiling and that kind of thing. So if you do order something from our website, the Etsy link is down in the description below, and every single order we will donate 5% of that order to charity. So at the minute we are donating to Mind charity, and this is because they do amazing work for people in our school, and they work really hard to help the children there, and they've done a really, really good job. So if you can, then thank you very much if you do order, and I'll see you soon. Bye. So the next slide from that is where we again build on from there, and I've taken away the visual cues this time. So last time I had a bit of a help on the board and I reminded the children of how they should go about solving it, but I've taken away all of the different kind of visual cues I had up on the screen to say to the children, right, apply that method you used last time and apply it here, just change the numbers around. And it's one of the best ways they can learn. It's about taking away that scaffolding and starting them off with the scaffolding they need, then slowly kind of taking it back and taking bits away from there. Obviously, as a kind of side point to this lesson, this doesn't include any things I'll have on the table. So there's all sorts of different like learning mats and mathematical reminders and little posters for the children to remind them of what they can have. And different groupings will have different numbers of these and different amounts of these, and they'll have different levels of help in the classroom. But again, these are just what I put up on the slides on my short-term planning. So this is where we are then progressing on from looking at a straight line to angles in a circle. And so straight away, there's a new fact that children need to know to be able to solve these problems. So on the next question, as you can see, I've put it up on the board straight away. And that is that there's 360 degrees in a circle. So then the children should think about, obviously last time, if there was 180 degrees, they started with that and took away the missing angle. This time, they can't just take away one angle, as there's 3 angles they know and the one missing angle. So they can either add up those 3 angles and then take that number away from 360, or they can take away one at a time from 360, and then obviously as the answer gets smaller, take it away from that number. So this is where the children get the bit of freedom to pick which method they want to do. I haven't put the method up on the board because I want to see straight away the children that can apply that knowledge and the children that need a little bit of extra scaffold to get there. And so that's where we'll be giving them that little bit of extra help that they need in class. But this problem is kind of the harder problems they'll be looking at today. And so it's a quick visual cue for me of I can see which children are straight away on it, which children need a little bit of extra boost, and which ones are saying actually they're really not quite sure, there's some missing bits of information that they need help with. There might be some misconceptions in there about what the angles in a straight line are and how it works. And so straight away we know which ones we can focus on in the lesson once the children get on with the work. And the final slide here is just another repeat of another question like the one we did before, but again I've changed the numbers around so the children can apply it to different problems, and they can see how once they know that process, once they know that method, it is all about just repeating that method and solving the problem. And that's one of the things I taught children a lot about at the time. So much of maths is all about patterns and methods and processes. And once children have that and a decent understanding of why they're solving that problem and kind of what it means in terms of degrees and angles and how they're doing that, then everything kind of does boil down to just solving the pattern, solving the process, doing that method over and over, and then they can solve it and find the answer. And that is what math is all about. So hopefully you guys have kind of found this kind of helpful and understanding. And again, it's just a process that I go through. I have a kind of set template of these slides that I do, and every day I create a new one when I'm doing my planning. So each week I'm kind of planning for the week ahead, for the next week. And it's just one of those things where I just kind of run through it every time and I follow the same process. There are things that change. There are lessons that require more interactive things. There are lessons that require less planning and more resources on the table, but it's the same kind of thing every time. This applies to English as well, which obviously this was a math lesson I've gone through today. But if you really want to see what it looks like for an English lesson, then just let me know in the comments down below and I'll do my best to help you. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, there's a new video on a Tuesday and a Friday at 5 o'clock. So hopefully I'll see you there.